Hi, this is Mark Henry, author of Dancing with Energy, Healing, Magic, and Mysticism. I spoke last week about the topic of psychic cords in relationship to sex. And basically, what I said as a review is that when someone has sex, and especially when it's compelling, that psychic cords, energy lines, in other words, start to connect between the two people's chakras. And as a result of that, that information, energy, emotions can be transferred uh, back and forth. But I wanted to kind of move away from that particular context and just talk about the psychic energy cords, or as it's been called, Aka cords, and Huna, which is Polynesian mysticism. Also in shamanism, they speak of these cords. Kind of speak a little bit about that in kind of a general, kind of broad sense. So let's kind of get into it. Okay, so the psychic cords are basically, well, let's start with the positive cords. Anytime that we have a strong connection with someone and it's a positive, supportive relationship, then we have the positive psychic cords. And that's kind of something we all want, to have that best friend, that amazing partner, that good business relationship where there is a caring involved. And you and also remember that these chords, whether they're positive or negative, can also will go to specific chakras. So before I forget to mention that. So if you take the example of the positive psychic chords between a like I say, a mother and a son, when you have a good family dynamic, that might result in a chakra psychic cord connection. Uh, Same thing if you have a bestie, a best friend, and that could be also a heart chakra cord connection. Now that's when things are going good, but things can also turn the other direction. You could be in a very positive, supportive relationship, and then it turns ugly. It goes south. And in that case, you could have a negative psychic cord situation. And it doesn't have to be go from the positive to the negative. You could just be in some type of relationship that isn't healthy, that's dysfunctional. And as a result of that, you develop these negative psychic cord connections. Now, when that happens, those cords maintain this relationship. Now, somebody once asked me, well, is it the cords actually creating the feelings, or did the emotions and intentions create the cords? Well, it's kind of a chicken versus the egg type of situation. My intuition is that the intention and the feelings created the psychic cords, because as the metaphysical maxim goes, as above, so below. So anyway, with the negative psychic cord connection, that is what makes relationships difficult to get away from. If you're in a romantic relationship and you have this psychic cord connection, maybe it was really good, but for whatever reason you had two people who need to move on. This cord can perpetuate this type of negative dynamic. You might have one person trying to get away, another person wants to kind of keep it going. The person who maybe wants to get away may feel a little bit of guilt. And those sorts of emotional investments in the person that wants to get away can actually perpetuate the psychic cord. I see this sometimes when you have a relationship that people break up and then they get away from each other, get a little bit of distance, and just when they're about to move on, they go and sleep with each other again. And there, of course, there's no judgment in that, but I wonder when I hear about this whether it is this last-ditch effort to kind of uh, grieve the loss of relationship, and maybe the knowledge that this cord is kind of breaking down. In any case, the negative cord can develop in innumerable ways. It could develop in an abusive relationship, a parent-child abusive relationship. It can develop in a domestic violence type of situation. Abuse, neglect, a lot of dysfunctional type of dynamics between people can create these negative psychic cords. So I guess, what do you do if you suspect a psychic cord? Well, the first thing is to be aware of it. And one good indicator about whether you have psychic cords with somebody is if you kind of stop and you think about that person, and when you think about this person, you actually, just the thought of them makes you feel like a little drained and creates kind of like ill feelings that kind of bubble up. If that happens, more than likely you have this negative psychic cords. And it doesn't have to be just kind of an abusive relationship or a romantic relationship that's gone bad. It could be through a toxic friendship that you have with somebody. Again, it can occur in multiple contexts. So getting back to what I was saying, is that the first is to be aware of it. You can actually do that little exercise about thinking about the person. And then you have to kind of decide how you're going to handle it. If you suspect that that's the case, then I would suggest getting a little bit of distance from someone, this person, and possibly even ending the relationship if you feel like that, you know, this friendship or this relationship isn't going anywhere. And then kind of making up your mind. When you make up your mind, the cord will dissipate on its own, most likely. But let's say that you don't want to actually do that. You want to actually do something on another level. If you're metaphysically inclined, I would suggest learning about how to cut the cord in meditation, because it's not difficult. And if you're somebody who is familiar with meditation and that sort of thing, that would be kind of an easy thing to do. You also would afterwards do kind of a chakra cleansing meditation to kind of get rid of some of that nastiness that was probably in the chakra that the cord was connecting between the two people. And then kind of doing what you can in the outward world to make sure that you have that kind of distance and that boundary between that person. And I guess that's about all I have to say about that today. Thank you for listening, and please like and subscribe to my video and channel. So thank you very much.